with all my might, with all my strength, everything I have and everything I am, I give to you, Jesus. You have all of me, every fiber of my being is yours. I love you, Jesus. God, I love your presence. There's nobody like you, Jesus. Nobody compares to you. How lovely is your dwelling place, oh Lord Almighty. For my soul
for 24/7 soul edifying content, this is Kristocentric Station, playing at Kristocentric.com. Kristocentric Station, the Kingdom Promoter.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the first and premiere of the Kristocentric Agenda, live on the Kristocentric Station. My name is Yeboah Edwin Techi, and on this show, we discuss topics that people need to hear, but are sometimes afraid or don't know which questions to ask. So on the Kristocentric Agenda, we interview the top people in the various industries to ask them the questions that you need answers to. And today, the first person I have with me in the studio, he is DOI Michael Korsah. He's the Deputy Director for Safety for the Ghana National Fire Service. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I hope you're doing good.
I'm good. God is keeping me.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, but how long have you been doing this? How long have you been in the Ghana National Fire Service?
I've been in the Ghana National Fire Service for 36 years, and specifically in safety for about 20 years now.
20 years?
Yeah, 20 years. So I have risen through the ranks. Before I became the director or the deputy director of safety, I had been the commander in various districts across the country. I once became the regional investigator in the Eastern region as well. Then moved to Techiman as the municipal commander. Then I was brought to Accra in 2017.
2017?
Yes.
Wow. You know, not to mince words, you know, the Ghana National Fire Service for some time now has been caught in the crosshairs, especially when the public is looking at fighting fires. With your experience and your position, how would you describe the Ghana National Fire Service position in fighting fires?
It's been quite challenging. We are performing as our duty as required by our mandate and by the law. We are doing what we can. We are being professional, and what is very important to know that Ghana National Fire Service personnel are not seen, especially when it comes to firefighting, until there is an emergency to respond to. And I understand them, because when it happens, because they are victims and their properties are being consumed by fire. They are expecting that immediately they called the service within a minute or half a minute or seconds. The respondent has to be on the fire ground. Immediately they get there, fire sees them and the fire is extinguished by itself. But it's a process. And that is why we always advise that the fire doesn't start. People become safety conscious. And it's quite challenging. We have equipment gap, logistical gap, but we are making do with what we have. We thank God that the government of today is much committed now to resourcing the Ghana National Fire. I know we can get better.
Before I come to the gap you mentioned, was the process from receiving the call to extinguishing the fire?
Yes, so the crew are kept together. Let me bring this in. You hear more often that firemen are seen playing drafts and are seen doing certain things that they find not acceptable. But it's a conventional practice, international practice. They are supposed to be together. The only thing you can make them be together is when you introduce indoor games. And by that, when fire broke out or when a message is received at the control room, within 1 minute, the crew member is supposed to mount the fire engine. And internationally, within 3 to 8 minutes, you must be at the fire scene to deal with the fire. So it has to also come with the fact that fire stations supposed to be to be established within the community as and when the community is developing. In Africa, our communities don't grow vertically; they grow horizontally. So the spread of development becomes very, very fast. And there is a need to have fire engines. But in Ghana, the fire engines we have strategically opened and established does not match with the speed with which the country is developing. So it takes quite a number of hours or minutes to get to the fire scene. So that is one factor that's causing the delay of some of the responders. But then, by 3 minutes to 8 minutes, you must get to the fire scene and deal with it. And 1 minute, fire responders or fire crew was supposed to mount the fire engine.
You mentioned 3 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
There was a fire at Circle.
Yeah.
And one of the responders, one of the witnesses said they called the Ghana National Fire Service and they came after half an hour when the damage has been caused. Why?
I would have been happier if you asked them the number they called. They would tell you they called Ghana National Fire Service. You ask them to mention the number they called, they will be found wanting. That is why it is important that every citizen, the number emergency lines are the number or the lines that are used to call fire service. It's at the fingertips. All right. Even when you sleep and you are awake, you should be able to tell and mention. What happens is that when you call the 112, all right, it's directed to the call center and it's rerouted to our emergency services, because 112 is for all the emergency responders, the police, ambulance, Ghana National Fire Service. All right, so when you call direct, it comes to our control room and it is giving to the proximity, the closest fire station to respond to the fire. So I am not sure, because whenever a call is placed to a particular fire station, it is being monitored because radio is activated. Under normal circumstances, no officer in charge or commander is supposed to move the fire engine if it's not called for fire or to respond to fire. So when you are called and you are dispatched, within 3 to 8 minutes, depending on the location, you must be at the fire scene, and it's being monitored. So if that tender, as is being alleged, got there half an hour, I don't think that it's factual.
There have been cases or reports where the truck does come to the fire scene, but it is empty. And now they have to go fetch water from somewhere else. You see some of them even pouring buckets. Why?
fire engine or firefighters have water as their weapon. So you can never go to the battlefield like a soldier without an ammunition or a rifle. And I asked them, anybody who tabled this argument, and I asked them, petrol and water, which one is the cheapest? Because water is accessible, it's the cheapest. And so why do you move the fire engine? When you spark the engine and you accelerate, even that alone takes about 1 gallon of fuel. So why do you drive all the way from your station to the fire engine without water? What happens is that it's what has to do with hydraulics. The fire engine you see, it's a multi-purpose fire engine. It has a lot of components, all right? Water is carrying about 3,500 liters of water, and within 2 minutes, depending on the pressure you are operating with, you must expel all the water. So normally, the practice is that when you are dispatched the fire engine, you must have a water tanker following you to augment firefighting. Otherwise, in every community, every 200 meters or 300 meters, you must have fire hydrants, so that when you are run out of water, you go to the nearest hydrant to replenish, then you go back fighting the fire. So it is not also factual that you go there without water. All the fire engines you see parked at the fire station that are even faulty have water in them. So I tell people that walk to any fire station unannounced, tell them to lead you to a defect fire engine, let them open. You see the engine flowing, the water flowing from the fire engine. Yeah.
When the fire truck does come to the scene, yeah, and needs to refuel in terms of water. Where does it go?
It goes to, like I said, it goes to the nearest fire hydrant. They're supposed to, every 200 or 300 meters, there's supposed to be a fire hydrant being mounted. So
but is that the case?
Almost all the fire hydrants are buried. And those that are not buried don't have water flowing in them.
Why?
That is the issue. That is the issue. So we are talking it over with the water company. My argument is that, is it viable to be using treated water to fight in fire when we have water scarcity? So we are thinking outside the box to construct mechanized boreholes across the country strategically, so that to support continuous firefighting, and you have water really available for firefighting.
With the fire hydrants, I just want to ask, when were they established? When did they start building these fire hydrants? Immediately,
there's a developmental plan by physical planners, all right, better still assemblies and local governments. All these are incorporated in a plan. So as you build routes, you construct routes, it's supposed to be part of the construction. The pipelines are supposed to be constructed and incorporated in them. So it is something that has to be done from the right go, all right? But in most cases, it is not done. It is not done until we draw the attention to it. So now we are not working in silos, hitherto the local government and assemblies and those who construct road will be constructing and all that. We found out that it is doing a disservice to the country. Now, when they are done with the community design, they bring it to us, because even if you are doing it, the roads must be friendly to the emergency responders. So we must make an input to it. So now it is something we are taking seriously.
What is your connection with the planning committee, Ghana's planning committee, in terms of housing? Because there have been reports and there are even videos of kiosks being established on fire hydrants, or buildings being established beside fire hydrants. Or you mentioned that some fire hydrants are buried.
Yeah.
How is it that a kiosk will have a permit to establish itself on a fire hydrant, or a house close to a fire hydrant, knowing that the Ghana National Fire Service needs them? How is that possible?
That is gross indiscipline. So we have the public sector made up of people, individuals who also have their interests. Recently, I conducted an assessment at Adenta, having a lot of kiosks being built closer to a warehouse that is posing a very high risk to the warehouse, and you would investigate further and find out that permits have been issued for such individuals to mount their kiosk. The question is that is it proper? Is it something that we must encourage? A place that is meant to be used by pedestrians, all right? They are building kiosks, so now people are now competing with vehicles on the road. So when I realize that I'm now writing my reports, then I'll meet the assembly, then we'll further find out who issued those permits for those people too. So at times we need to go that tangent and bring those who are behind these things to book, and we will not sit down for the worst to happen. Then we begin to blame each other, and from the right go, when we see the problem, we have to deal with it. So we are engaging the assembly on that score.
How long has this been going on, the engagement been going on for? Because this has been an issue for quite a while.
Yeah.
There are similar reports where a fire truck went to the closest fire hydrant and there was a kiosk on it. They couldn't access. So yes. How are they supposed to fight the fire if they don't now have access to it?
That's the problem we're having. So we are engaging them. When it has to do with making it public, we'll make it public. We'll name and shame, because it's putting everybody at risk. And it's quite dangerous, especially when you have a lot of kiosks built on the hydrant closer to the market. The hydrants are meant to be used should fire break out in the market, and if they would allow it to be buried because somebody has issued a permit, and with all impunity they are building it is not proper. And I think that we are going hard this time on them. And I remember I told one municipal chief executive, the municipal chief director, that I will be the first fire officer who would chill an assembly official when we realize that. I would take you to court to go and answer why you did that, because it's unprofessional. It's not acceptable.
Now, coming to the gap you mentioned earlier, logistics gap.
Yeah.
How severe is it? Can you break down this gap for people to understand? The first or the last, the latest fire engines we received, all right, the last consignment of fire engines received was about 20 years ago. 20
years ago. And internationally, every 5 years you are supposed to have a new fire engine, considering the robust nature of our job, all right, and how the tender is being used. To be more effective, you need a very strong and serviceable fire engine. But looking at the logistics we have, it's outlived its age, and it's creating. So we are making do. So firefighters are doing so well, and so we thank God for this government that is making it possible now. Discussions have been going on, and yesterday we sat from the morning till evening, all in an attempt by the government to retool Ghana National Fire Service. And government is working with speed to ensure that by the close of the year we will have hundreds of fire engines to be distributed across the country.
How many fire engines do we have in Ghana now? Operational.
We would have getting to the 300.
300.
Yeah, 300 of them. 300 operational. Some are having minor defects and all that, but with the commitment by the leadership, anytime there's a fault, they make sure it is repaired. And we are getting some of the support from the assemblies also. We're also helping to get them in shape till we receive the new ones. And so we are making do with what we have for now. But I must say that most of the fire engines we have are not that effective. Some of them, you get to the fire scene, you engage the pump and it's not working because it is old. It's old, but we are making do with them. And government has seen that and is committed to providing us with new fire engines very soon.
F300, you mentioned that some of them have minor,
Yeah.
so they're not fully operational in terms. F300, per your words, are operational, and it is termed as making do. How many fire engines do you need to effectively do your work with ease?
How many districts do we have? Ideally, every district must have. We have how many? About 200 and something districts across the country. Every district must have 2 fire engines or 3, depending on the fire load, depending on the developmental activities that is being carried out within that district. So minimum, every district must have 3 fire engines, 2 fire engines, and 1 water tanker to support when there's an outbreak and emergency. Supply them with water, ideally. Yeah.
Now, you mentioned the fire engines that are available at 20 years old.
Yes. The last consignment we received, so somewhere 20 years ago.
Why do you think it's been so long since you had an inflow of a new fire engine? Do you feel that the government is not supporting? Because 20 years means it's not just this government.
Yeah.
It's passed through a number of administrations.
Yes.
Do you feel that the government or government in general underfunds the Ghana National Fire Service, or does not prioritize their service to effectively work?
Let me say that I don't want to sound political, but let me say that coincidentally, the fire engines which were received, as I just mentioned, 20 years, were bought by this NDC government. Yeah, NDC government, the previous ones that came, and after that we have not received. I think that as a country, we are placing security above safety, and you can be secured but not safe, but you can be safe and secured. So we normally make an analogy that let's release 3 armed robbers, all right, or 10 hundreds of them, put them in the market, all right, or business centers. 1 day, 2 days, let them see what they can do, and let's put fire also in the same vicinity, and let 2 days, and let's see what fire will do. So it is important we make them move. They must be a par. As we think about security, we think about safety. So we are not placing safety on top as a country, and I think that now that it is showing that fire occurred and a lot of distractions took place and all that, the government is so committed, and like I said, they are doing everything possible to get that retool the service and resource Ghana National Fire Service for effective delivery.
Okay. Earlier you mentioned that within 3 to 8 minutes it's supposed to move from call to
the fire scene.
To the fire scene. Are there factors or things that can affect the response time?
Yes. A lot of factors. In Ghana, we are developing. In the other jurisdictions, we have emergency routes where other commercial vehicles are not allowed to ply that routes. But in Ghana, it's not like that. So as you proceed to the fire ground, you would be impeded, or you would be distracted by other vehicles. Others may even say that, and all that. So the mentality and all that affects. And also, I mentioned that the response time delays because a lot of people will tell you, I called Ghana National Fire Service, but they haven't called. You ask them, which number did you call? They are fumbling. They don't even know the number they called. And it is an area we must be making noise about, conscientizing the public as to the number to call and what to do should fire break out or there's an emergency. These are the factors that is causing delays in the responding to fire outbreaks, especially the traffic. And at times you would be driving and there will be road construction, And by law, before you block any road, you must inform the Ghana National Fire Service. It's an offense, jailable offense, if you don't do that. In Accra and other places, they can mount or block a road and use it for funeral and all that. All these things are factors that affect our operations. So we are working at it and making sure that very soon we are coming out with a project, or it's a government policy. We call it AFCAS, Automated Fire Compliance and Certificate System. That would help addressing all these issues and make fire service more effective and efficient.
So with what you're saying, that they're supposed to inform the Ghana National Service if there's construction going on, are you trying to say that the system currently in place does not aid the fire service to do its job? It's currently a hindrance. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, people do that with impunity. They just, without any permits, decide to block the road. With so many reasons. I remember one day I was driving through town, somewhere in Cape Coast University, and I got to a point blocked. So I called those. You see, you have a good intention in getting the community to clean up, but I don't think it's right to block the roads. Right? You don't do that. Here, it's a tertiary institution. Should somebody fall sick, an ambulance driving in to go and convey or respond to a sick person, and you are blocked, don't you think the time wasting would cost the life of that person? There's something we call golden hour, the time with which the incident occurred, and the time you call the respondents, and the time they would get there. Within that period, anything can happen. So there shouldn't be anything that will hinder the operations of any emergency responder. So it's not only fire service, it has to do with the ambulance and the police also. It's important that when there is any intention to block any road, you need to inform the authorities, the assembly and the appropriate agencies to be alerted, so that they know that this area is blocked. Then they'll start looking for an alternative route to use, so that it doesn't delay responders to fire operations.
Last year there was a fire at Regis Wache, basically around and one comment that was passed was that there's been incidents of prank calling.
Yeah.
How true is this, and how does it affect your work?
Yeah, prank calling. For last quarter alone, we received more than 5,000 prank callers.
5,000? Just the last quarter?
Yes, last quarter, which is quite serious. You see, when it happens like that, when it is even true, it becomes some way, all right? When you pick a call and that my beer is on fire, then they use all kinds of profane words, trying to, I don't know whether to test or I don't know. So it is worrying, and I would use this platform to tell parents and all those who are doing that to stop. Because if you are calling that there's an outbreak of fire somewhere and it's not true, when it is real, when fire starts and it is true that fire has started, nobody will take you serious. But that notwithstanding, it is our duty, whether prank call or no prank calls, we will respond to the calls anyway, but it doesn't help. So let the public refrain from doing that.
Is there a system in place to differentiate, or that helps differentiate prank callers from the actual ones?
You won't be able to differentiate until you get to the scene. All right, then you will know that it's a prank call. What we are doing now is to be working with the telcos to be able to track those who do that. Then we can process them for courts, because it is a jailable offense. You don't call the emergency respondents when there's no fire or there's no incident. Then you call them that it is bad. It is not correct. So we are working with the telcos to have it resolved.
Okay. So in other words, those that prank call they could face serious
That
punishment.
is it. They could.
When do you think that will come into
Very
effect?
soon. We are working. I told you. I just mentioned a project coming up. AFCAS. All will be addressing this.
Inside.
Yes, I will be addressing that. It's a total compliance of a process. Yeah, and that will cover all our operations. And we have developed other portfolios to cover everything, and all these things will be addressed.
Okay. When it comes to fires, what are some of the key causes of fire outbreaks?
It could be ignorance, it could be accidental, it could be carelessness, it could be arson, it could be electrical, but most of the fire outbreaks we've attended recently was as a result of electrical faults. All right, within 1 to 16 years, or 1 to 20 years, 30 years, all electrical wiring on the premises has to be reviewed and look at it, whether the wires are weakened, the state of it, and consider rewiring. All right, most of the wires on a building or premises, most of the premises has outlived its usefulness and must be changed. And so that is it. At times, it's fire as a result of gas usage and gas leakage and all that. So there are so many causes of fire.
But who would enforce the rewiring of buildings if the time has reached that a building has rewired? Or let's say in an office space, there's faulty connection.
Good.
Is it your duty to ensure that the right thing is done?
Our duty is to have an assessment conducted and see how that installation or wiring poses a threat in relation to fire to the occupancy. Then they would generate our reports to perhaps Energy Commission to make recommendations. Either the premises will be cut off, electricity supply to the premises will be cut off. That is how we are collaborating. So it's now going to be a multi-sectorial approach, right, where we would be informed, need to know and need to share. Now we are not just coming to stand and assess with our naked eyes or with physical assessment. We are coming to introduce a technology. We call a device we call thermal imaging device that will be introduced to your installation to identify hotspots. So it will scan and generate a report telling us the states of your installations, whether it is dangerous or not dangerous. That will be determined by the machine and the device. Then would do other things, then make a recommendation as to whether the place must be evacuated, must be closed down, must be cut. Then the recommendations will be made.
Is this already ongoing or is yet to be implemented?
It's being piloted, all right. We have done a proto inspections in that respect, but it's going to be rolled out in full hog when AFCAS is launched. In coming days, we'll launch AFCAS. That is somewhere middle February. Then it will be operational from 1st of March. All these things will be addressed.
Does it also cover residential properties?
Yes, it covers. LI 2249 has been passed, making it mandatory for every private home to have a detector and an extinguisher in the home. And now, surprisingly and interestingly, most of the residential homes, they come voluntarily to request for an assessment to be conducted. People are becoming safety conscious, and it's good. So we do that. By law, it is mandatory for every home to have an extinguisher and a detector that would alert the occupancy when fire is about starting.
With regards to these detectors and fire extinguishers, it's mandatory.
It's mandatory.
How can we, or let's say, how can organizations, homes, get access to these?
It's a good question. So we are working with private partners to have it supplied for free. So we are starting with the gated communities and will enforce that. So the payments would be the servicing. When it is due for servicing, then a token will be charged to recoup the monies being used for the initial purchase of the extinguishers. So we are doing that with the local government, and it's part of the AFCAS. It's going to be rolled out.
Rolled out.
Yes.
Is there a punishment for organizations, residences that fail to have these installed?
Yes, it's punishable by a penalty and jailable offences. Maximum, I think, 3 years or so. Yeah. And so if you don't do that, personally, I had the opportunity when I was the regional safety officer in the Eastern region, by the help of the courts, I was able to prosecute not less than 500.
500?
Yes, not less than 500. I enforced it. And, we blacks, safety is what we adapted. It is not. So we just wanted to become a culture, all right, instinctive. But then a lot of them also think that it's a waste of time investing on safety because it doesn't bring money. But you see, safety is intangible, all right, and it is that something has not happened. If something happened, then you realize that you should have done this or should have done that. So, but if it becomes a culture, all right, nobody tells you to do that. But then, because it's not our culture, we enforce it. We'll get there. When we enforce it gradually, we'll get to that realm where we'll have a climate where everybody will think safety and work safety. Yeah. But then, if you violate, it's punishable by putting you in prison or a fine.
A fine.
Yeah.
After how many years is a fire extinguisher usable, and how can a person tell if this fire extinguisher I'm going to purchase has expired?
Very good question. You are spot on. Extinguishers are serviceable every year. At times, depending on the exposure, at times 6 months. Every 6 months, you service them. Apart from that, you need to do an assessment of the extinguisher on daily basis. That is why we are saying that every premises, depending on the occupancy, the size of the occupancy, you must train fire wardens who will be charged with the responsibility to ensure that these assessments are done every day to see whether the extinguisher is active, because the extinguisher is there and everybody can play with it. There is one that we call CO2. When you trigger, it gives you a sound, and that sound would excite you, and people will want to play with it. They'll be playing with it. It is there, but it's empty. All right. So it is important you check and make sure that the content are intact. The dry powder is active, so that when something happens, you use it. Apart from the daily checkings by the wardens, it is important that you do a schedule that every 6 months or every 1 year you service them. Where to buy them? We have service providers who have licensed to import them. So it is part of AFCAS. You can never just import anything. Recently, we went to the DVLA and asked them who gave them the permission to be selling extinguishers, because every extinguisher that is being imported into the country must be certified by the Ghana National. Before you have an intention to import, you bring a sample. All right, you bring a sample. I just received a call when I was entering your studio by electrical firm, a wiring firm. They are into production of electrical wires, and they want to bring a new product onto the market. They came to see our chief officer yesterday, and we have told them to bring a sample. We'll do that with the standard authority to see whether it conforms to our standard, because there are standards to it. Yeah, so that's how it happens. So you can't just bring any extinguisher. Those extinguishers must be certified and approved by us, and it will be put on the market. And when you buy them every 6 months or every 1 year, you service them.
You service it. Okay, so DOI, wrapping up, any final words for those watching you, those listening?
Let me thank you so much for giving the opportunity to be on your platform. Fire is very dangerous, and it's important that you become very conscious of that and do what is right. Most importantly, when you are leaving home, make sure all electrical gadgets are off. And I personally have a checklist at the back of my door. When I'm going out, I take them electricity off, 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 and that checks me because I'm a human. Even though I'm a fire officer, I'm a human. So when you do that, it becomes a practice. All right, it helps guide you, it helps protect you. And for those who are also are so minded of security and are barricading their homes, should be very careful. Should something happen, you are unable to come out. You cage yourself. And when you have a design like that, contact us for us to give you professional advice so that you would have a collapsible one created at the end so that when something happens, you can go out. On that score, I would say be safe and don't use your telephone whilst cooking, especially our women, because the emissions of radioactives, when it interacts with the gas leakage, it could cause explosion and all that. That's why be careful. Don't leave your engines on when you are you go to the filling station to fill your fire cars and all that. Those in the market, please don't cook in the market. Use big fires and naked fires. It is very dangerous. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And that was DOI Michael Korsah. And he said so much. And I have a feeling, and I know, that he'll be here again with us in the studio to address more pressing issues. So you all heard from him. That was DOI Michael Korsah, Deputy Director for Safety. And please, all the advice that he has given, don't cook and be using your phone. Those are the markets. Don't be using naked flames. Don't be cooking in the marketplace. And please, if you're in an office or home, please get the fire extinguisher, get the detector, and please reach out to the Ghana National Fire Service to help you with the assessment of the wiring, ensure that anything you're going to be using for your safety is approved and the right thing to do. So, you've joined us right here on the premiere of the Kristocentric Agenda. We'll be back same time, same place, next week Wednesday at 10 a.m. with another intriguing guest in another sector. Please put this on your calendar and keep your fingers crossed and your popcorn ready. My name is Yeboah Edwin Techi, your Christian news anchor, and I'll always remind you that God is not done with you. Your best is yet to come. Please enjoy the rest of your day.